Once upon a time, in a kingdom shimmering with gold and pride, there lived a princess whose beauty could silence a room, but whose arrogance could freeze a heart. Princes from every corner of the world came to win her hand, yet she mocked each one mercilessly. One man, however, stood silently among them, King Thrushbeard, so nicknamed by the princess for the curve of his beard that reminded her of a bird's feathers. Her laughter echoed through the palace that day, cruel and sharp, until fate decided she would laugh no more. When her father, weary of her scorn, swore she would marry the very next man to appear at the castle gates, destiny came knocking in the form of a humble beggar. Little did the proud princess know, her path from royal halls to dusty streets would reveal not just the meaning of humility, but the true heart of the man she once ridiculed, the mysterious King Thrushbeard himself. The great hall gleamed with chandeliers and silks as princes lined up to meet the princess. Each bore gifts, jewels, fine horses, and rare treasures. But the princess sat high upon her throne, eyes sparkling with disdain. "This one is too fat," she said with a smirk. "That one too thin. His hair too curly, his voice too deep." Her laughter rippled across the chamber like ice water. When King Thrushbeard stepped forward, dressed modestly yet regally, his kind eyes met hers with calm grace. "But she could not resist another insult. Look at him!" she scoffed. "That beard, like a thrush's nest." Her father, the king, clenched his jaw in shame. He had watched his daughter turn beauty into cruelty, and his heart ached for the lesson she had not yet learned. Days turned to weeks, suitors stopped coming, and whispers spread through the kingdom. The princess who mocked kings was now alone, admired only for her face, and feared for her pride. But fate, unseen and patient, was already weaving her downfall. One morning, as the court prepared for breakfast, a ragged minstrel appeared at the palace gates. His clothes were torn, his voice rough but kind. "I seek alms, your majesty," he said, bowing before the king. The king's patience had run dry. "Enough of this pride," he thundered. "You shall marry this man, the next who stands before us." The hall fell silent. The princess's laughter died in her throat. "Father, you cannot mean this," she whispered. But his eyes were heavy with disappointment. The wedding was swift, humble, and without joy. As the minstrel led her from the palace, the princess turned once more, hoping her father would call her back, but he did not. For the first time, she stepped into the world beyond her golden walls, a world of dirt roads, cold winds, and the bitter taste of hunger. The proud princess had become the wife of a beggar, and her lesson had only just begun. The journey to her husband's cottage was long and harsh. The princess stumbled over roots and stones, her silks now stained with mud. Villagers whispered as she passed, the once proud royal now dressed in rags. In the small cottage, she was taught to light fires, cook meals, and weave baskets. But her hands, once accustomed to jewels, blistered and bled. "I cannot do this," she cried one evening. Her husband replied gently, "Then we shall go to the market. You can sell pots for coin," but each attempt ended in failure. She dropped the pots, burned the bread, frightened customers with her tears. One night, hungry and broken, she gazed at her reflection in a cracked mirror. The proud princess was gone. What stared back was a woman humbled, not by cruelty, but by truth. Her husband watched quietly, his eyes full of compassion. Beneath his disguise, King Thrushbeard knew her heart was beginning to change. Weeks passed, and the princess began to work without complaint. She mended clothes, shared food with neighbors, and smiled at children who passed by. The village began to see her kindness bloom where pride once ruled. Then one day her husband said, "The king is holding a feast in the nearby castle. Go and help in the kitchens. Perhaps you'll earn a few coins." She agreed, though fear trembled in her chest. Inside the grand hall, memories rushed back. The music, the candles, the same royal banners that once hung in her father's palace. When the guests arrived, her eyes widened. There he was, King Thrushbeard, the man she once mocked. But instead of scorn, she felt only shame. She tried to hide her face, but it was too late. The hall fell silent as the king approached. Then with a soft smile he spoke. "Do you not know me, my queen?" Her heart stopped. The beggar, the minstrel, her husband, it was him all along. Tears filled her eyes as truth dawned upon her. You did all this?" she whispered. "I did," King Thrushbeard replied. "Not to punish you, but to help you see the worth of a humble heart." The princess fell to her knees. "Forgive me," she said, her voice trembling. "I was blind to what truly matters." He lifted her gently. "You were blind, yes, but now you see. And that is all that matters." The feast turned into a celebration not of power, but of transformation. The king welcomed her not as the haughty princess of old, but as a woman reborn through humility and grace. From that day forward, she ruled beside him with kindness and wisdom. Her laughter no longer mocked, but healed. Her pride no longer divided, but inspired. And when she looked at her husband's beard, once the source of her scorn, she smiled. For she saw in it not foolishness, but the beauty of love disguised as humility. Thus, the tale of King Thrushbeard became not one of punishment, but of redemption, where pride fell and love rose in its place.